Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Screen Scene Guru, and tonight I've got an update on movie news and things I've been watching. Starting off from the thumbnail, you might have guessed, I've seen Tron Ares. Thought it was an alright film. I wish the story was maybe a bit stronger, but the visual effects were very good. Watched it on the streaming service Disney Plus, which they had the IMAX enhanced version on the streaming service, so very good there. Going into the story, I got IMDb pulled up. Highly sophisticated program Ares is sent from the digital world into the real world on a dangerous mission. It's a very interesting storyline. This is kind of the fan story that we all wanted from Legacy. If you guys remember when the second Tron came out, they teased programs coming into our world, programs becoming alive. So that's really cool to see for the nerds of the genre space. Going into this, I think one of the reasons why it might not have done too financially successful is obviously Jared Leto. He's been nominated for the worst actor of the year, which is kind of sad, but it does fall under the genre of artificial intelligence, cyberpunk, action, adventure, sci-fi. So if you guys are interested in a good time, I'd say it's a nice family watch. It's an hour and 59 minutes. Like I said, it's on Disney Plus. It's also on Prime Video to rent for $5.99. So that's nice. There's also a really cool steelbook out for physical media lovers. Pretty cool steelbook. Going into the cast, we got Jeff Bridges back from all the Tron movies, which is really cool to see. Jared Leto, and then we got Greta Lee, which I liked her performance in the movie. I thought, she's supposed to be this tech billionaire, that her sister was sick. She's kind of finishing her sister's work. So I did like her in that. Looks like she's going to be in, or she was in, Past Lives, which was a really good film. It got nominated for Best Picture when it came out, Past Lives. And then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. She played a voice role. I haven't watched that film, so maybe I should go into that and check that out for sure. And of course she was in Tron Ares, and then she was in Russ Armstrong from 2014, so that's cool. Let's see what else. Looks like she's been in St. Vincent, so that's cool. So yeah, she's only been in a few things. Going back, let's look real quick at the director of the movie, because I like to do a deep dive kind of. So we got Johannem Ronning. He's a writer, director. Let's see what he did in the past. Okay, so he's worked for Disney for a long time. His credits are known for, let's see, Tron Ares was the last thing he directed. Then he did Young Woman in the Sea, which was Daisy Ridley, her film she did last year. So that's cool. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So he directed that second Maleficent film, which Angelina Jolie had a lot of control over. Doomsday, which I don't remember what Doomsday was. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Marco Polo TV series. But yeah, really cool. Maximus, Man of War. So he did that. Miss Kitty. Anyway, so he did a lot of Disney work. Not too good, but it looks like some consistent Disney work in the last few years. So it makes sense why they would want him to direct Tron Ares. Hey, come on. Go sit over there. It's my kitty cat. Yeah, going into the story for Tron Ares, I thought it was really interesting, the casting, because they don't really address it here. Let me go back. Evan Peters is in it, which he played a good role. He's the Dillinger, who is basically trying to get control over Incom. Hey, baby. Really cool use of the angel suits. If you guys played the Tron Evolution game, you get to see the angels use their suits. That's awesome. Athena, which was a really cool character. We got to see a program go after Ares, played by Jodie Turner-Smith. Really cool. So yeah, we got Gillian Anderson, which played Elizabeth Dillinger. I thought her role was kind of just like waif, you just got to see her for a moment, then she gets killed off. And then of course we got Eve Kim's friends, which Seth Flores and other people, Aja Shai, just interesting people that they kind of threw into the story. So yeah, that's kind of funny. We did get to see Cameron Monaghan for a little bit, a sequence where he was deleted from the system. But yeah, we got to see him from, of course, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, and Jedi Survivor. So very interesting that they brought him into the fold. But yeah, of course, they gave him a minute character role. Go on. Hey. Jeez. Okay, so going on from there, I thought it was a pretty good story. Going into some movie news real quick, we've got Joe Carnahan, who was the director of Rip on Netflix, was accused of domestic assault. Not too good look there. I mentioned in my last week video that he was countersuing his ex-girlfriend. Going on, they do have confirmed White Lotus Season 4 is happening. As well as we got the former wife of Tim Burton is apparently going to star in it, which that sounds pretty cool. Let me look up real quick. Well, they probably won't have it on IMDb just yet. White 4, I believe they're on season 4. Yes. So cast has been revealed. Let's see. People Magazine, Hollywood Reporter, Web News. I guess we go to People Magazine 2 days ago. Okay. White Lotus Season 4 cast meets the stars, checking in for the show's French getaway. So this time they're going to France, which is really cool. Season 4 of The White Lotus will introduce a new group of vacationers as the series heads to France. So really cool story there. Casting announcements of The White Lotus begin in December 2025, so the 4th installment will star several notable names, including The Crown's Helen Bonham Carter and Vikings' Alexander Ludwig. They'll be joined by the up-and-coming actors Caleb Janet and Edwards and Masrina Long. So that's cool. The next wave of guests has officially checked into the White Lotus Season 4, a stay in France. So that's really cool. That's Helen Bonham Carter. I think the last major thing she was in was maybe the last Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I haven't seen her in a lot of things since then. It's been years. So it's really cool to hear, she's getting a major acting role in White Lotus. We also got Steve Conan. So that's cool. Caleb Janet Edwards. Melissa Long. So that's cool. Alexander Ludwig, which he was so great in Vikings. I'm glad that he's getting a major role in television. Let's see, who else? Chris Mincetta. Okay. And then AJ Mikala. Nice. So that's a cool cast announced. I'll be sure to link this article down below so you guys can see that. Going off from White Lotus, we've got let's see, Star Market. Apparently there's a new show coming out from Netflix, Next Star, if you will, about a talent agency. It's coming back from the 80s, which is going to premiere a new season on Netflix coming soon, sometime in 2026. And then we got a rumor Doomsday is going to have his own black order of mages and witches that will work for him, possibly multiple Dooms even, so that's very cool. And then Steve Rogers is supposedly going to be living in the F4 universe, Fantastic Four's universe, because Loki picked him out of time to protect him and his family. That sounds very interesting. Fast 11 has been greenlit from Universal Studios, guys. So big news from Dominic Toretto, Vin Diesel. He basically released on social media confirming in 2027, I believe, or 2028, we're going to be getting the new Fast Forever. So that's really cool. That's going around trending on the news. A deal to keep government funding short term has been made. Minnesotacrisis continues with their government operations going on. Excuse me. And then the 11th hour deal in the Senate was made for the White House to hold a short-term new DHS deal made after Republican senators and Democrats held funding. So big major moves are happening with this partial shutdown. 2 journalists were arrested in Minneapolis after FBI warrants were issued, which totally upends the First Amendment rights. You know, Don Lemon is being taken to court. He says he's going to battle the charges in court because of this religious freedom of religious gathering suit that was thrown against him. He was a reporter in that incident. He was just reporting on the protests there on the ground. He wasn't a part of the party. But the Republicans are, of course, trying to demonize him, trying to get him fired. Going on, the right to free press and ability to gather in the house of the Lord. So that's another big thing they're trying to push legally. I'm not sure how much grounding they have for this claim, this court case. Update on the Dems. Department of War is releasing footage of orbs, apparently, which is very interesting. The Weaponized podcast has released new footage of orbs supposedly surrounding our warships. Like I said, Catherineohara recently passed, which was a legacy actress from Home Alone to Beetlejuice, and other things. She was in Last of Us Season 2. So many good iconic roles. Unfortunately, she's passed at 71 years old. I noted that she was losing a lot of weight the last few months recently, so maybe that was a sign. She didn't frequently go to the doctor. She didn't want to check on what was happening, so maybe she could have had cancer, or they're not exactly sure what her medical status was. There's a Saw reboot coming out from Blumhouse. There's apparently some movement going forward with that. Highlander picks from churches, from the Budapest Temple to Theologian Christian Church have been seen in the images with Henry Cavill, of course. Iran had explosions in 4 cities, which they're linking to gas explosions, which seem very interesting because they're right where their strategic Navy operations are. So people are citing that's going on. They built forts over, or roofs over Fordo, the nuclear installation facility that the U.S. hit a few months back in this operation. So the fact they're moving structures over the buildings is a sign that there's stuff going on there. Perhaps we didn't get all of the uranium they're storing. There were trucks that were leaving before the operation took place, so they did move some material. Artemis 2, talked about the heat shield, how it's not up to code. They're risking lives, putting people back in this Artemis craft. Anti-iceprotests broke out at the end of January, which were very good, going up against the killing of Americans the federal government weaponization of the U.S. citizens. So they've been getting a lot of traction there. We got David Grush came out on the Megyn Kelly show, talked trash about age disclosure, and went after Dan Farah and Tim Clapper. Ahsoka leaks are happening. They're set to release at some point this year, at 2026. We're going to be getting, I gotta think, Maul, Shadow Lord, starts in May through April, and then we're also going to be getting the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in May, and then after both of those projects are done, at some point we're going to get Ahsoka, so that sounds like it's going to be very good, with the Mortis Gods being a very big plot they focus on. It's been 15 years since the episode in the Clone Wars where they focused on the Mortis Gods. So I wouldn't mind if they did an episode where it's a live action take on that experiment or that trippy vision that they had. NASA has figured out areas on the planet Earth that portals exist, and weapons and soldiers have been used to transport these, I guess, exotic materials for a long time. Brew Foss has talked about Templar secrets. So Brew Foss, he's also selling mana for $100 a pop on PayPal. So that's very interesting stuff. A Grandmaster from Templar Association. They claim that they want this release of the body of Jesus Christ. They want it to be genetically tested live in front of the globe. Some very interesting claims being made. 2026 Grammys happen, the 68th Grammys, with a lot of music awards. I don't really pay attention to the music awards these days, but I did see Chappell Roan's nice revealing outfit. Everybody was talking about it. Devil Wears Prada 2, a new trailer dropped, and new posters showing off that our, I guess, lead role is going to be Emily Blunt, which a lot of people are kind of citing, why didn't we get a younger actress? Kind of like when Anne Hathaway was the lead in the first one. They went with Emily Blunt, which might be because they want her to get big roles. Netflix is ready to acquire Warner Brothers with an all-cash offer. Apparently even the stockholders are saying they prefer Netflix over Paramount due to their handling of this deal. So going on from there, just got a little bit left. Project Moondust has been discussed on George Knapp's Mystery Wire. If you guys haven't been watching, he releases a weekly show talking about past investigatory sites. He was talking about basically Bob on the river and Needles, California. There was a crash site. OST, the Office of Secure Transportation, was brought up, so very informative stuff there. Recommend you guys check out. Nuclear transportation of materials. They have the permission to use deadly force if they believe, this material could get loose. So they are very much like the federal government. Makes sense. They are part of the DOE. And of course, real quick, I want to talk about Fast. So Fast and Furious, it's been 5 years since the last Fast and Furious. Potentially it could do well financially. Not exactly sure who all they could bring back, because we had Gal Gadot come back, we had The Rock come back. I think Cena's gone, Dom's brother. I think he's out of the picture, even though I wouldn't be mad if he shows up. But two of the major controversies about Fast and the Furious is that Gal Gadot controversy because of the whole Snow White and Israel-Palestine, and then The Rock. How are they going to bring these people back into the fold after they blew up on social media so badly? Not exactly sure how it's going to happen. They're going to have to pay them, but I'm looking forward to their work. I'm a big fan of all of the people in Fast and the Furious. I mean, going back to their catalog, they've had 12 to 13 films. If you count, okay, so there's all of the Fast and the Furiouses, 1 through 10. And then, of course, there's Hurricane Heist, which is technically a side story. And then, of course, there's Hobbs and Shaw, which is more of a direct sequel to the Fast and the Furious universe. But very interesting to find out that this is all coming to an end. Let me pull up my photos real quick because I have a bit of news. Okay, so we did hear that Fallout is in fact going to have its season finale this week. Season 2, episode 9, I believe. 9. And then, of course, Henry Cavill set to play King Alf in Aladdin in live-action Voltron from Amazon. So that's really cool. Let's see what else is going on real quick. So we did get the announcement that a horror comic, The Exorcism 1600 Pen, which is the White House address, if you guys didn't know. It's a comic book out right now, The Exorcism at 1600 Pen, White House, is getting a movie adaptation from Blumhouse, An Atomic Monster. The story is set in the White House as demonic battleground for good and bad with the first female president, which I think is kind of comical that they're doing this, female president and she's possessed. Oh, it would make more sense to go than now with this administration. I mean, the way they're acting with zero accountability, zero lack of morals. The story would just make more sense if Trump was possessed. That's just my idea. But interesting to see Blumhouse is coming out with this new Exorcist story. Not sure if this is going to be connected to the one with Scarlett Johansson and everyone else that they just announced a few weeks back. But this would be interesting to see. Real quick, Sherlock Holmes 3. We've got an update with the Robert Downey Jr. is reportedly back in development. This is coming from Daniel RPK. Let's take it with a little bit of grain of salt. The vision of Holmes still feels unfinished. The question now is whether they go bigger or smarter. Either way, RDJ is back as Holmes. And this is just after Guy Ritchie just did a young Sherlock Holmes series for, I think it was the BBC. So he's been doing stuff in that vein, that line of work. So yeah, really cool. And then, of course, they dropped the new Stranger Things Tales of 85 teaser trailer today, which was interesting to watch. I recommend you guys check it out. New voice roles for all the kids. Now, I get that because they've all grown up, right? You can't have these 20-some-year-old actors playing a voice role. But I just thought, interesting choice. Real quick, I've got right here. Tales of 85 will feature actors taking on the roles of the characters. We've got Brooklyn Davy Norstead as Eleven, Jane Hopper. Luca Diaz as Mike Wheeler. Braxton Quinney as Dustin Henderson. Alicia Williams as Lucas Sinclair. And then Ben Palisina as Will Byers. So, cool, interesting update from the Duffer Brothers. They're recasting the voices, at least, for the main core 5 kids from Stranger Things. Makes sense. What do you guys think about this update? Real quick, I will go on to Threads, because I like to go on Threads from now and then, just to see what's happening there. Pharrell Williams, looks like it's trending. Hard work comments. Drew criticism and debate. Let's see what else. Trevor Noah. Bad Bunny makes history with Grammy win and Super Bowl show. So that's cool. Groundhog Day brings humorous reactions to antics online. Chappell Roan's Grammy outfit features prosthetic nipples. So it draws various opinions. So yeah, I knew it was very revealing. But yeah, very interesting. That's pretty much all the news they have on Threads. So that'll do it for this show. What do you guys think of Tron Ares. Have you guys watched it yet? Let me know. And all the movie news. Be sure to comment down below, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Very much appreciate it. I'm trying to make my way up to 100 subscribers. I'm at 86 right now, so I very much appreciate the support. Until next time, guys and gals, I will see you in another one of my videos. Be sure to check out my pages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all around at Scene Screen Guru. Till next time, bye-bye.